Hello everyone. Today we are going to be making sugar-free cheesecake brownies. And one of the things I want to let you know about this recipe is this is exciting. It's gluten-free, grain-free, which is separate than gluten-free. I'm learning as I do this stuff. Low carb, it's keto, it's paleo, it's Whole Foods 30, it's diabetic friendly. And I'm missing a few others, but literally it is not a guilty treat, and that is awesome. So here we go. I will say you have to do it in stages, so give yourself about 30 minutes of prep time alone, and I will not do the full 30. Don't worry, I'll be pausing and going as I go. So the first thing I'm going to do, oh, I need to stop and say really quickly, if you don't want to do the cheesecake portion of the recipe, you do not have to. I'm going to post the link to the recipe, and I actually reached out to the person who did this, and she has talked about how you can just do the brownie portion and skip the cheesecake portion, and you just have to reduce the cooking time. That's all you have to do. So you can still do that. The other thing is it says to use an 8x8 or a 9x9 square pan. And some people had put in comments that they thought it was runny or that it stuck to the edges too much or that it didn't bake right. So I reached out to her because I'm like, I want this to work right. She said if you're using a glass bowl or ceramic bowl, you're going to come into that problem. You just need a good old-fashioned, well-greased, not sprayed. So I used butter, an aluminum or a dark metal baking pan is the traditional way. So I know a lot of us have the glass. Just stick to the old-fashioned and just grease it up really, really well. All right, so for the brownie portion, we have 4 eggs. I went ahead and pre-measured those, and I'm going to dump them into a bowl. We're going to mix them up here pretty soon. A quarter of a cup. I want to correct myself as I do this. A quarter of a cup of butter, softened. 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Oh, this is a brand new one. I didn't know the seal was still on it. Sorry about that, guys. I ran out the other day, so I had to go get some before I made this. All right, so 2 teaspoons of the vanilla. Okay. Now, here is a different thing. If you do not have it, there are comments down in the notes about how to not use this. But basically, it is a teaspoon of liquid stevia. Stevia is a plant, so it's a plant-based sugar. Remember, the big thing with most of these diets is all natural. So it's all natural sweeteners. It's just 0 calorie, 0 carb sweeteners. She does tell you how to measure it out if you, I want to say it's like a half a cup of stevia or something like that. It's down in the notes in comments. But for our sake, we just want 1 teaspoon of liquid stevia. So it's super strong. You don't need all that much. I need to get a little bit more. Comes in this cool medicine dropper. Wow, that's still not a teaspoon. All right. Not bad. Pretty easy. Then after on liquid stevia, another word of advice, it's cheaper on Amazon or online than it is in the store. Okay, just a little note on that one for you guys. 1/2 cup of cocoa or cacao. It does not matter if you use cocoa or cacao. They're just 2 different types of chocolate. The big thing is unsweetened. So I need a 1/2 cup. About that. All right. I want it nice and chocolatey because it's brownies. Now, because we are going to be using another type of sweetener here in a minute. Sometimes sweeteners have an aftertaste, even though it's an all-natural sweetener. You can buy 4 packs of these. These are those instant coffee packs, Folgers instant coffee packs. They're either like 4 or 6 to a thing. You can use espresso powder if you have espresso powder. And if you do that, it's 1 teaspoon of instant espresso. I usually don't make instant anything, but for $1, I could get 4 of these and I'll make brownies 3 times later. And 1 packet is 1 teaspoon. What that does is you can't taste it. That's just to give you a heads up on that. I even reached out about that one. It gets rid of the aftertaste to your sweeteners. That's it. So speaking of sweeteners, 3/4 cups of Swerve. Swerve, remember if you were on a previous one, is erythritol. Erythritol is not an artificial. If you look it up, it is plant-based. I know that sounds weird. Erythritol and allulose are the 2 weird names that are under plants, as well as stevia and monk fruit. Stay away from sucralose, which measures the same, but you know, just stay away from it. Stay away from regular sugar, your aspartame, saccharin, things like that. You don't want any of those. All right, so 3/4 cup of Swerve. I'm just going to use my half that I just had. See if it fits in this bag. And on this one, for this portion, you want the granular. Swerve comes in granular, powdered, and brown sugar. So you can use it in any recipe. You can take recipes that you already have at home and just literally change them up to fit your needs and substitute these out. They're exact same replacements. So we have 3/4 cup of Swerve. Then to help it rise, we need 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. A 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Pink Himalayan sea salt for those of us that are low carb keto, because it actually has electrolytes, and that's a good thing for your body, and it does not raise your sodium level. So a 1/4 teaspoon of that. And then they recommend lilies. I went to the store to get lilies and they were sold out because it's that time of year. It's your Christmas, everybody's baking. But my store, Kroger, had another brand out called Believe, and it's also no sugar added. And I read, because I wasn't going to use it if it was an artificial, and it is stevia. So it is a plant-based, and they are chocolate chips. And we're going to use 1/2 cup of that. Alrighty. We're going to mix that up, and then I'll show it to you mixed, and we'll move on to the cheesecake portion because you layer them when you add them. My daughter actually wants to be the mixer, but not on camera, so I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, so we have the brownie batter all mixed up in a bowl. We just used an electric hand mixer because you are going to have to mix twice, so I cleaned off the blades so that I am ready for round 2, which is the cheesecake topping. Let me go over the ingredients one more time because I forgot one and we added it while mixing. So we have 4 eggs, 1/2 cup of sour cream. That part I didn't tell you about, so make sure you add that. 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 1 teaspoon of liquid stevia. You can even use chocolate or mint if you want to. If you want to add more chocolate flavor or even like a chocolate mint flavor, have fun with it. I just kept it plain. 1/2 cup of cocoa powder, or some people use the cacao. It doesn't matter as long as you keep it unsweetened. 1 teaspoon of instant espresso, or a packet of the instant, like the little instant Folger coffee mixes that you buy for $1 at Walmart, and you get 4 of them. So I can make this 3 more times. That does not add flavor. That helps with the fact that we're using plant-based sweeteners. 3/4 cups of Swerve granular sweetener, or an equivalent. I know some people prefer monk fruit, whatever, but it's got to measure cup for cup. 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder for rising and 1/4 teaspoon of salt for the same reason. I recommend the pink Himalayan because it doesn't affect your sodium count and it has electrolytes. And then 1/2 cup of sugar-free chocolate chips all blended in. Okay, bowl number 2. We are now on the cheesecake portion. 8 ounces of cream cheese that's been sitting out for a while to soften. Hopefully I've had mine out long enough. Feels like I have. 8 ounces of cream cheese, 1 egg whipped up. Measured on that again. And then 1/2 teaspoon, back to the vanilla extract. So 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. 1/2 teaspoon of the liquid stevia. It just, I don't know if you guys noticed last time, it's kind of like a medicine dropper. So you just have it kind of go up into there, and then you work on filling up your measuring. Okay. One-fourth cup of, now I'm going to say swerve again, but this time we're going to go with the confectioner, which is going to replace the powdered sugar version. So only 1/4 cup of this one. There it goes. It's sticking in there. This is when I need measuring cups. I lost my 1/4 cup one, so I'm trying to only fill my half one halfway. I'm doing math. All right. All right, we are going to blend these together and then assemble. So this part for the cheesecake topping, once again, is 8 ounces of cream cheese softened, 1 egg, 1/4 cup of swerve sweetener, 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and 1/2 teaspoon of liquid stevia. This one, they say if you want to add vanilla flavored liquid stevia, you can, or keep it original. And we'll blend this up. Okay, the cheesecake batter has now been mixed. So I have 1 bowl that is the brownie batter and 1 bowl that's the cheesecake batter. The brownie bowl batter is thicker. So when you look at the link, there's a video of the recipe being made, but it wasn't made by her. And they dump all of the brownie batter at the bottom, and then they do all the cheesecake batter at the top. That causes one of them to not cook evenly. So if you want it to cook evenly, you need to layer it. So it's going to go brownie, cheesecake, and then we're going to add a little bit more chocolate chips on top for a little extra indulgence and swirl. You can just make the brownies, as I've said, and just watch that cooking time, reduce it by a little bit. Okay, so let me just tell you a little bit about the nutritional information. For carbs, for those of us counting carbs or low carb, there's only 4.3 grams of carbs in a brownie. It makes 20 brownies. This is an 8x8. You cut it by 5x4, but because it's chocolate cheesecake, it's so rich, that's all you need. If you're not counting carbs or it's a cheat day and you don't want 20, you want to make 16 and go by 4x4, I'm going to totally say that's okay. But if you do 5x4 and get the 20, it's 115 calories per serving. And it does have 7% of your protein in it. So really a low calorie snack, which is great. It fits the low carb, it satisfies your sweets, and it does all of that in a chocolate cheesecake. All right, so when you check the YouTube link, I will add on the link to the recipe. Do read through some of those comments on there, but the main ones were about them pulling away from the pan or the chocolate part being too liquidy. Her suggestion to me, you can stop all of it by using a metal pan. Get rid of the glass pan or ceramic pan for this recipe. Make sure you thoroughly grease it, not spray it. So I used butter, and you're gonna have a much more even cooking if you layer it versus chocolate than cheesecake. That's going to help you automatically get the brownie that you're looking for in your snack. So at this time, I'm going to pour a quarter, a quarter, a quarter, and a quarter, and then I'll show you how it looks when it's ready to go in the oven. All right, that is what it looks like. What I went ahead and did is I did chocolate cheesecake, swirled the knife to get the marble effect, and then I topped it off with some chocolate chips. So at this time, it says to cook for 30 to 35 minutes or until a toothpick comes out clean. You need to cool it at least 20 minutes before slicing and enjoying, and you store these in the refrigerator because it's a cheesecake type of brownie. So I will be back with the finished product. All right, so the brownies are out of the oven, and I'm in a different room right now because we're actually doing a Zoom party in the other room. They look absolutely amazing. So I have yet to try one, and you may or may not see my dog here, but I am going to serve up. And I'm serving up one for everybody in the family because that's what we do here. So good. These look amazing. Oh my land. I mean, seriously, they look amazing. Okay, I will tell you, I'm putting 2 squares on each. I'm not gonna lie. So that's what it looks like all the way up. And I'm gonna do my taste test right now. It looks, oh my goodness, these are delicious. I totally would recommend this recipe, and I'm glad I put 2 on every plate. Have a good day. Enjoy your cheesecake brownies.